Chapter 4. I woke up with a sore neck and an aching back. For just a couple of incredibly sweet seconds, I didn't remember where I was. I thought I was home, safe. Then I remembered everything, and the fear knotted up in my stomach all over again. Ben was dead, I was alone, and there were things that would kill me on sight pretty much everywhere. Thinking about all that, I didn't have much of an appetite. The rescuers will come for me. I kept telling myself that over and over, as if thinking it were enough to make it true. But what if they didn't come today? Something my dad used to say came to me. Hope for the best, plan for the worst. I had to keep my strength up. I had to survive until the rescuers came. I had to be ready to go with them. I felt weak, so I forced myself to eat a few more bananas. I had to plan my day, figure out a way to signal somebody, a passing motorboat, a low-flying plane, or the rescue helicopter, that I was here, without getting myself eaten by dinosaurs in the process. Looking around, I saw that I was in a grove of banana trees. The neat, ordered rows gave the place the look of something planted by farmers. It was a mystery, but I had bigger things to worry about. The sloths were sleeping, snuggling actually. The sight made me smile, despite how I was feeling. "Hey, you guys," I said, shaking a branch. They lazily raised their heads. "Where's a good place to light a signal fire or something around here?" I didn't like the idea of straying too far from this place. I had no idea if I'd find much of anything else that I could eat on the island. On the other hand, I couldn't just wait here and do nothing. The sloths went back to sleep. Well, it wasn't like I expected an answer or anything. Hearing my own voice and joking around made me feel a little less alone, that was all. Maybe a little less scared, too. I tried climbing high enough to get a view of the outlying area, but I couldn't squeeze through the tight branches above. Suddenly, the tree started shaking. I grabbed hold of a branch and shouted as a huge dark head crashed through the tree's upper reaches. I fell, my arms outstretched, and grabbed at something hot and slippery. I hung on just long enough to surf downward along its slick surface, a good 10 or 15 feet before I fell to the ground. As I dropped like so much dead weight, I saw something brown and mushy below. A mud puddle? Then I crash-landed into it, sending mud, or whatever it was, flying everywhere. When the smell hit me, I almost lost my breakfast. It was dino dung, and above me was a long neck tearing at the thick green foliage of the banana tree. Oh man! And I thought that other sauropod's gas attack was bad. The ground shook as the dinosaur took a step closer. I looked around and saw that I was in a clearing on the other side of the banana tree grove. 3 of the long neck's buddies were heading toward me. They were smaller than the one I had accidentally used as a water slide, but still big enough to trample me if I didn't move. I stepped out of the dung that had broken my fall and made like I was on the track team. Finally, I slowed my sprint to a jog and looked back over my shoulder. I couldn't get over those small oval heads on those incredibly long, lean necks running down into giant football-shaped bodies. Their legs were elephant-like, and their tails long, thin, and rigid, except for the tips, which swayed like serpents and coiled like whips. The necks and tails of the dinosaurs stayed parallel to the ground as they walked, and between the largest one, a good 80 feet long, and the 30 to 50 foot long babies, I felt like I was watching a family of old-fashioned round-bellied vacuum cleaners with legs sauntering along. I knew they weren't Brachiosaurus because they didn't have the deep domed head. I'm pretty sure they were Diplodocus. The largest of them, Big Mama, had a neck that was close to 25 feet long, its body a dozen feet long, its tail a good 40 feet long. Yeah, definitely dippies. Incredible! I couldn't look away from them. I should have, though. The ground gave out under me, and suddenly I was tumbling down a steep slope. I rolled and banged my head and arms a dozen times on tree stumps and small stones. The world kept turning over while my stomach felt like it might come up through my mouth. I splashed into the warm water of a stream and came to a stop. A pair of dinosaurs drank at the opposite side of the stream. They looked a little like rhinos, only they were twice the size of the animals I had seen on nature preserves, and they didn't have horns on their triangular heads. Thick bands of armor with large plates and spikes wrapped around their bodies, and their thick, heavy tails ended in bony clubs that they waved menacingly as they looked up and glared at me. Ankylosaurus. Unhappy Ankylosaurus. I must have startled them. A little farther back, near a couple of trees, a pair of their young huddled. I got up and put my hands up in front of me. "It's okay, it's okay." The angry clubtails watched me as I backed away. Then they stopped. The biggest snake I'd ever seen hung from a branch just a few feet over the head of the smaller of the 2 young Ankylosaurus. The snake's mouth was open, its fangs bared. I didn't know if a snake could bite through the hide of a young dinosaur. What I did know was that if it could, and if the snake was poisonous, the little clubtail probably wouldn't survive. I circled around the bigger Ankylosaurus and dipped my hand into the water. Fishing around, I came up with a nice-sized rock. "Believe me, it's okay," I said. "I'm trying to help." Then I pulled my hand out of the water and threw the rock. It hit a branch near the snake, startling it and making it retreat from the Ankylosaurus young. A home run! The bigger Ankylosaurus didn't exactly see it that way. Both slammed their club tails to the ground, kicking up rock and other debris. I stumbled back, but a big chunk of stone struck my right shoulder. It spun me around and I fell face first into the water. Scrambling, I tried to use my hands to push myself up out of the waist-deep water, but my right arm was numb. I got up, gasping for air, and heard the pair of angry ankylosaurs storming into the water behind me. Clutching my arm, I made it to the shore, then ran as fast as I could away from the dinosaurs. They didn't follow me very far. I guess they didn't want to leave their young unprotected. I made it to a bend in the stream and was soon out of sight of the dinosaurs. I stood holding my hurt shoulder, panting from exhaustion. I had only been trying to help. Another saying of my dad's came to me. No good deed goes unpunished. I used to think it was a stupid saying, but it seemed especially true now. This was not a human or humane world. Whatever I did here, my good human intentions could have consequences that I could not control, or even foresee. I waded into the hip-deep water, splashing it on myself to wash off some of the dino dung. I crossed the stream and entered the shelter of more jungle. The feeling slowly returned to my arm.